that enthusiasm, Becca. I don't know if anybody else heard that or their folks at home, but as soon as I rang the bell, I heard Becca go, "Let's do this." Love that. I love that. All right, welcome home to Rotary. And well, all right, so today we'll do our Pledge of Allegiance four-way test. We'll have a virtue reading by George and a prayer by Mark. We'll have club announcements, and we have several today. We'll have fellowship, and I know Murray has extra fun planned for fellowship, a dad joke, and youth services is our program for today for their annual update. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. And the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better relations? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Okay, and now to George for the virtue reading.
Okay, first, our virtue for today is optimism. I will have a preamble to that. Optimism and hope are essential. I know lots of negative stuff. You all know that I said, but I'm not negative. I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful. Because if you're not, you're going to miss opportunities when you show up. So that being said, let's see what this says. Optimism is a positive, cheerful outlook. When we are optimistic, we are hopeful even when others have lost faith. We believe that good has over victimized by setbacks. We embrace we look at the future with a vision of what is possible. We trust that everything works together for good. Nothing can destroy our hope. The optimist sees the rose and not its thorns. The pessimist stares at the thorn, oblivious of the rose. The practice of optimism. I have a positive viewpoint. I have faith in all circumstances. I trust in positive outcomes. I focus on solutions rather than problems. I see a brighter future. My hope is resilient. I'm thankful for the gift of optimism that cheers me on.
Thank you so much, George. Yeah, Pastor Mark. Let's pray.
Lord, I thank you that we can gather this room today with positive, optimistic people, and that we can work together to bring that and spread that to our community, to those that we work with, those that we serve. So Lord, I pray that you bless these moments that we have. That it be a time where we can reflect and remember that the best is yet to come. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Okay, so club announcements. I'm just going to share a couple of reminders on meals. One is if you are on the meal plan, which means that as part of your dues, you pay a little extra fee to be able to eat when you come, and you don't have to buy a meal or have a punch ticket, sign the sheet. Eric uses that when he reconciles how many meals we're being assessed for, just to make sure we're kind of in the right range. So that's what that is for. And the other thing, it's gone, but it'll come back to me, I'm sure.
I've developed for getting food science.
Oh, thanks, George. It's nice knowing a good company. Dr. Houston.
Thank you. Couple of things. There's a district Rotary Foundation celebration coming up on Saturday, November 12th. I think that'd be a good thing that anybody can make that. That'd really be great. George and myself and Nancy signed up for it. I think it'd be especially important for anybody involved with the foundation and the incoming presidents, if they could attend. It'd be really great. There's a flyer back on the counter. Take one with you and register that, George.
just a comment, Dick has room for one more in his car, but I could drive and I got room for 4 people in my car. So we can have a caravan if there's enough people that want to go. So don't be bashful.
Thank you, George. And if you don't ride in my car, but I have room for more than one. But anyway, the second thing is I talked about Platte Pocket and Prairie. I have now been to Lincoln, Roosevelt, Jefferson, Divine Mercy, the Lutheran School, and the STEM School. And every one of the principals of those schools are enthusiastically endorsing this program. And so we have third graders all over this community. I've got 2 schools left, community school and the school at Nearstrom that I'm going to contact. If anybody else is aware of another school that I'm missing, oh, by the way, Carrie Pollard is going to coordinate the homeschool. If there's anybody, any other school that I'm missing, let me know. And it's really coming along great. We have great cooperation with the school, soil and water, and Don Hughes. It's going to be a great project for Rotary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I did think of my other thing, and that is, the inn takes great care of us here, and we want to help them in any way we can. So they're asking at the end of our meetings if we could just put our plates and dishes in the bins over there when we're done. That's really a big help to them. So let's do our best to be good guests. Who else has an announcement? Pastor Greg.
We had a wonderful Strive session today. One of the things that happens from time to time is the speaker today has a crisis and can't step forward to provide the lesson. And that's what happened to me this morning. I learned that our speaker of the day said, if you ever in a jam, I'm worried.
Rotarian of the Year, Ms. Brenda DeMars.
Sorry, I'm late. Amy and Jess couldn't be here, so I'm here to collect your money for roses, if you have it. And then also I'm gonna pass around, this is November and December for bingo. So if you can help on a Thursday or a Saturday that's not anybody marked on, that would be great if you can help out. We'd appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Any other club announcements? Laura.
Thank you, Kurt. So Kurt and I have been speaking with our other club member, Brandy Lee, who's been at some training for the last, it's a 10-week training program. So he hasn't been here in person with us. He's been on Zoom, and I know he's on Zoom today. Brandon has come up with a really great idea, and so we're going to show you a quick video about something that St. Cloud Club is doing with their local police, and they call it Cop House. And so we're going to show you this video, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the potential, very early potential for our club to do something like this. So.
I'm just gonna update it quick because right now it shows a story about Kanye West being associated with Adidas, and I don't think that's what we want.
Yes, I feel very sad. Very sad.
Okay, well.
So let's try this here, and maybe we'll learn about the Cop House, maybe we'll learn about,
Get the ad there.
oh, there we go. Yeah, add one of one, okay. Thank you all for your.
I want to do more than that.
They had posted a picture of his last birthday party, and he had like a Curry jersey and stuff on, Curry cake, and Curry everything, so I'm like, he must be a Curry fan. So I reached out to his grandma, I'm like, well, how do you feel about redoing this whole room, like Golden State Warriors style, and she loves the idea, so.
So, this is a great cause, this is the wrong video.
Well,
Okay.
how about
so
if we
the-
send out the link?
Yeah, well, I'll try to send the link out to you. The idea is that we would, team up with the police department in Faribault, Rotary, potentially lots of other organizations, and we would be offering a spot for kids to come and hang out. The police would have a heavy presence there, potentially. It's very, very early on, just discussion. So what I wanted to present to you guys today is that, we're thinking of meeting up on November 15th. We would do an evening just to sort of talk about it. Location to be determined at 6:30. And so we're probably going to be here, but we want to just have a conversation and see if the club and some of the other local organizations would be interested in pulling together something like this, because it would be a huge community endeavor. And so I'll mention the date again. Next week we'll probably have a location, but November 15th, we can get together and talk about it. So, potential project maybe for the end of your year and Rose's mine, who knows?
All right, thank you so much, Laura, and thank you, Brandon, for sharing that with us, kind of running with it. Very exciting. Okay, I did have one other announcement to share. So Dr. Houston, I think it was at the beginning of last week, had gone to visit the Shakopee Club. Is it Shakopee? No. Prior Lake, I'm sorry, Prior Lake. And he presented Sam Hope with this Paul Harris Award. And so it's really great for him to spend time with Sam, who is a former member of our club and transferred to that when he had a job change. And we miss him quite a bit. Great, great person. And so thank you so much for doing that. We really appreciate it. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hanson. And would you like the remote for slides? There you go.
All right, so today, I guess we don't have any guests. So we'll move this one. There we go. First thing in fellowship, we have to point out is where the Vikings are, where the Bears are. I wish Keith was here. I'd love to see them. And where the rest of the Packers season is going. So Chad's shaking his head because he's an obvious Packer fan. It's brutal. It's brutal. They pay the bills this week, so I'm expecting a 3-4 over there.
Yes, I would expect many more in the loss column this season. I don't know if we'll win another game. We lost some commanders.
And we
had a quarterback.
And we sure do miss Dan Hedge, because this would have been a great time to talk to Dan about this. All right. As you all know, I think it's one more round of applause for. Just watch somewhere in the next week or so, the Daily News is gonna have a little bit more about her, and it'll be real nice to read. So again, congratulations. Okay. Last night I got this from Troy Dunn. He's out in Colorado. And saw Rotary Park, so he sent me this picture and said that he will be here in a couple weeks because he'll be back up here deer hunting, so he's gonna stop in and visit us. But that's where Troy is right now, and it looks like a real nice place. Now, policing versus happy money. The history of this club, about 25 years ago, and Rod knows this, it always was fleecing. I'll explain that, but happy money started creeping in with Pastor Gordon Orr, 4th Avenue United Methodist, right? 4th Avenue. I know. So hold on to that, I'll be back. So fleecing has to do with the person doing fellowship bringing up something about each of you and what you're doing, and then getting you to pay. The idea is, you know, I'm basically happy for you. But Pastor Ord kind of introduced something called Happy Money where, you know, we don't always know what everybody's doing, so you have a chance yourself to stand up and tell us what's going on in your life, or you have an announcement. So that's where the Happy Money. So fleecing is me being happy for you. Happy Money is you being happy to tell us what's going on in your life. So that's where the club history comes in. So to give you examples of this, this is a fleecing moment. Now, there is no Martha here, but Kathy's here, so I will fleece. And Martha's gonna be speaking tomorrow at Buckner Memorial Library on her book, Creating Restorative Schools. So I encourage all of you, if you're available, to please go and listen to her. It starts at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. So Kathy, this will be that flexible moment. So when I come around, you have to pay for Martha, and you can collect back from her when she comes back. Deal. All right. Now, this is another flexible moment. So Nathan, this is what I was talking about. Summer, Mighty Fine Coffee. And we all got a little excited when we heard Mighty Fine Coffee Company was coming through. So I need you to explain to me what that is, and how that works in your business. What Mighty Fine is? No, not the Mighty Fine, what that, I took that off your website. That's our roast. That's our. That's our roaster. Poor guy can't keep up right now, so we have to replace it, but that's where all the coffee comes from, and that we import coffee from all over the world, and after we go over it all runs through that cast iron drum right there, and do it else. Yeah, that's the real. And it's fresh every day. Every day they go to that, so we're open once a week, so Saturdays. Friday, Saturday. So then I have to ask you, who handles the finances between the two of you? I do the money fund finances. Okay, so then this is your fund. Yeah, so that's how this works. But see, then you get all this.
I've got it. Yesterday, Mighty Fine was at Harry Brown, so I've got you covered.
Okay. So bring your wallet each time, because I might be bringing this up. Right. Now, these two. Nick Houston and Jordan Wickstrom, as far as finding and Happy Money, it really doesn't matter which it is, they pay every week. Just because of who you guys are, and I wouldn't want you to feel left out. You never let me feel left out. No, so I'll be getting back to you guys too. Now, last week, I was in Nashville after I left here. Did a little celebrity hunting, and these are the two I came up with. Anybody know who's on the left?
Yeah.
Alan Jackson. And on the right? It's amazing how I got them to stand still for this.
You can't hold a candle to them right
So now this is Happy Money, because then I will put in a couple bucks. I'm announcing something that I do. Okay, now, this is something else, rules of grammar. I've noticed this for quite some time, maybe some of you have too, but in the general rules of grammar, it's I before E, except after C. However, we have a rule breaker in lunch.
Oh.
And not only do we have a rule breaker, he married someone and made her a rule breaker. So, can you explain how your family missed that?
We're Polish, what else do you?
Alright. So again, that's fleecing. So there they are. Rebecca, yes, Rebecca, glad to have you back. So we're gonna start at this table over here. For any Happy Money, anybody on a computer who's,
I have money. I'm working on all this stuff.
okay,
I'll walk them.
I have Happy Money. I've been really busy working on the levy stuff. And that's coming along nicely and it's wrapping up, but I need need some friends that I can trust who want to come and send some text messages. So each levy person is needing to find a couple of friends to come next Tuesday night over to the depot, 3:30 to 6:30. And send out some text messages just to remind people to vote. And so anybody in this group feels compelled to hang out with me where I will give you beverages and food. And just get a little bit of your time. You can text from the comfort of your couch later on Tuesday night after I show you how to do it. Just need your name and phone number by Friday to send to Educate Minnesota, the reputable company that we're using. And your phone number is blocked, so it's not giving out your personal information. But anyway, the levy group could really use anybody's support in here who wants to help with that. So that's all my money. I don't even know how much it is. I don't know how much. But anyway, if you want to do that, see me. I would love your help. I love hanging out with you for a few minutes.
Thank you. Rebecca's got a handout.
All right, I put in a $5 because I want to give a shout out to Zach, who puts on one heck of a party. Oh, for those of you who weren't invited, no, all of you were invited. Yesterday was the Scary at Harry's event. There were hundreds, literally hundreds of kids, lots of people, and it was a great time. We had, I'm sure he's going to talk about it. That's why I didn't want to say more. I didn't want to do this number. We did very little. I was there face painting. Greg showed up before the event and after the event. But yes, we were there.
Get used to a lot of that. We just. Dr. Hughes. That's a different one. What $1? I've got $1 because Chris and Cook both came up to the farm and helped harvest curry seeds to plant, throw Crocker Street later on. In addition, 2 people from the city that are part of the Green Corps came up one night. So I've got bags of curry seeds in my house right now, and I'm anxious to have some burn done and some snow coming so we can go plant.
Thank you. On your tables are a couple of flyers for the upcoming soup luncheons that are offered at 4th Avenue United Methodist Church, beginning 1 week from this coming Friday, from 11 to 1 for 3 weeks. Soup is being served. The menu is right here. It's incredible, and it's a wonderful fundraiser for my congregation. So hope that you'll come, bring some of your associates from work, and have a good time.
All right, we'll go to this table. Kathy, I've been waiting to collect this.
Yes, you bet. I'm putting money in for Martha, who will have to pay me twice as much as I put in. She's home working and preparing for her presentation tomorrow night. If you can make it, that would be great. She's very proud and very happy that she's been given this opportunity, and she even has a bill for it. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Kentucky Fried Chicken, right back to chicken. So hope to see you all there. I love this group. I'm really enjoying our time together.
I already got you. Mike?
I have 2 things. One is gratitude for all of you who bought Christmas cards for my granddaughter for the Third Guatemala project. And I'm hoping that, I'm going to ask her to send a picture. I'm hoping that our president will put them up. So it won't be till this event happens during spring break, which I'm really happy about, because otherwise we go to school in Florida, and you know what she would be doing if she weren't working in Guatemala. So, and then this is, I meant to say this last time and I didn't, I forgot. But this is for you guys. It's not much, but the Mighty Fine Coffee is really, really good. And they're open from 7 until 1 on Saturdays. And this is what I really like. My husband has to have decaf coffee. They extract the caffeine with water, so there's no bad chemicals in it. If you have trouble finding decaf coffee, I recommend theirs, it's really good. Thank you.
Look at that. Do you have any Wolverine news?
All the good news. You do better than the Michigan State this week. There you go. It's just because I feel so educated by Murray today. The difference between fleecing and happy, that is just made me happy. So,
There you go.
there you go.
They've written a song called Please Know That.
You and I are going to be really familiar with each other. Rod?
Well, I got an update on the Gophers. They're still rated #1 in the nation. And they had 2 overtime games last weekend. They won one of them and lost the other. And I got a call from my son the other day and he said, Dad, how would you like to go and watch the Gophers in Notre Dame? And I can't lose on that one. I'm cheering for gold. So that's coming up in 2 weeks.
All right. Jake?
I just want to thank Harry Brown, Zach for inviting us out to be a part of it last night. It was way more than what we were expecting going into it. I mean, the kids just kept coming through, the families kept coming through. There probably wasn't many people that were there that had set up a booth, had leftover candy or treats or whatever they brought to share. So it was good to see. So thanks for putting that on and thanks for letting us be a part of it.
Myra?
Yeah, I wasn't here last week because I had a doctor's appointment. I want to congratulate Brenda. I forgot to do that this morning when I turned in for the roses. So a week from today, I will go to the doctor's in to repair a valve in the heart. So hopefully all goes well. Thank you.
Our prayers will be with you, Myra. Brenda?
I have a couple dollars. So I'm really happy because I don't know if many of you guys like shopping, but how about purse shopping? And I don't have to take Drew because Amy went and did it. Drew's gone twice with me, carrying out purses. He's had patience, but he doesn't like them much. So anyways, Amy went and did it. I forgot to remind everyone, November 2nd, first bingo at Boxers. We have some really cool ones. Amy went and picked, so it's really tastefully done. And so come play bingo. You guys will all be hunting.
Well, Zach, apparently this was quite the event, so I have a feeling you can almost have to do it again next year.
That's the word. So last night was a scary days. Thank you for everyone that showed up. I was looking through the room. Wow, there's a lot of people that saw last night. It was a lot of fun. I think, yeah, there was a lot of people. It's packed, and that was good. We plan to do it next year. We had 30 different businesses and organizations that were involved. We had all sorts of different stuff going on, and there's some estimates. Someone said it saw about 1,500 people there. Some said 700 kids. Heard all sorts of different numbers, but it was a busy night. So thank you for everyone who showed up. Thank you for the face painters. That was huge. Thank you for the coffee. That was huge. There was a lot of different great things that happened. So yeah. So next year again, and there'll be more events in between now and next year. The thought is we want to be able to invite the community and be able to stay together. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. And also, Brenda, I just want to quick say, but well, Brenda, last week I just left encouraged hearing people vocalize the work that we've done, and so yeah, thank you again, because I was sitting in the office after the meeting going, gosh, what did yeah.
Money, you can talk.
Well, I know I can talk. That's never been an issue.
All right. Back table.
I just want to say, thank you, it was a lot of fun last night at the grounds event, I was one of the first tables. And walked in the doors. Standing. And then lots of people were also excited about our basketball bonfires. Saturday, so it's 2 to 5. And lots of free giveaways, lots of free food, be a good time, it's supposed to be beautiful weather.
Can I speak while I look for that? All right. So I just, sorry, it's the mask thing. I just wanted to say thank you. I had COVID, I went on a work trip, so Cindy filled in for me. And then on my work trip, I got COVID, so I was out last week and I'm back today. So no more work trips, I guess, is the lesson I learned.
All right, front table.
I'm gonna be doing plenty of talking. I don't need to say anything.
Okay. Dave? Nothing? All right, George, final word.
Just to think a little bit about this, comments about the, district meeting. Many years ago, when I started Rotary, I lived in pretty tough shape financially. And I'm saying this because if there's any people that are new in Rotary, there's not many here right now, it might not be convenient for $65 for a meeting, nothing for that. But when I was young in Rotary, and I just gone through divorce and lost a job, as a single parent, I was really up against it financially. And what I did at the meeting, when we were at the Lavender Inn, I paid for one meal. I didn't eat anything. I had coffee for the 4 or 5 Wednesdays in the month. Lucas Watercamper was one of the members, and he saw me eating coffee. He knew I didn't pay for it. Somebody out there, and he came up to me when I was talking with somebody else, and he talked to me about taking freeloading my coffee. And it was extremely embarrassing for me. And he wasn't thoughtful, and my relationship with him after that was not the greatest. But my point is this: if there's young members who are not there today, I'll make this announcement that because we don't have this big of I going to this district meeting. We've got to have more people than that can go, and because we need to represent this club. Now, if there's anybody that is inconvenient, with up to $65. I'm very fortunate financially, I know that. And I'm more than willing to go, pay for somebody. And if there's anybody that wants to go, and we'll keep it confidential, I would like to see more of us come to that meeting, because this is Rotary, we're part of it. The district, Dale Quigley is a great lady. I have 2 lunches with her before she was district governor. I meet with all Priscilla Priest is the next one. I know these folks, but I know all the district governors, starting with Kyle Hawken. I've had lunches with every darn one of them. Paul Perez came to my birthday party. So I've been active. I've had every Rotary meeting for the last 25, 30 years. And so please think about coming, because we need to represent this club. That's enough.
Thank you, George.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the awesome job on policing and all the wonderful things people shared. I put in a few bucks. One is for the Scary at Harry's event. What a blast. So much fun to see the joy for the kids. And I had a really in-depth conversation with a young Ghostbuster. We got pretty technical in our discussion. That was fun. Some money to spotlight George for being able to step in on short notice for Strive this morning. When I was involved in the Strive program and we did surveys at the end of the year, George's discussions were always some of the highest rated from the students. They loved hearing George's passion for wise financial decisions and how your decisions you make today can impact you later on down the life or later on in life. A few bucks to highlight Natalie. She's not here today, but I think she's on Zoom. She does a lot of community outreach for health and wellness through her position with Alina. And they work to identify what needs are in the communities that they serve. And one of the needs that affects health locally here is housing, access to safe housing. An issue that has been happening, that some of you may have heard of in Northfield, is with Viking Terrace. An investment company bought out Viking Terrace, which used to be owned by a family. And the investment company has put forth rules and regulations that people need to follow to be able to stay in the trailer park, as far as like no toys in the yard. They have to do modifications to the outside of their trailer, all this and that. And so essentially what it seems like they're doing is they're making it harder and harder for people to be able to stay there, or the people are increasing the value of the park by the modifications that are required. So that way, when people leave, then the company can charge higher rent for the next people that come in. And it's really a difficult situation. So Natalie was able to identify some funds in her budget. She put up $10,000 if the CAC in Northfield could match $10,000 to go towards helping these families be able to stay in Viking Terrace and do modifications to make their trailer safe and whatnot. And so last Wednesday night, we went to a benefit where they were raising funds for this, and they not only matched that $10,000 to get $20,000, but they had an anonymous donor put up an additional $5,000 for a matching grant, which was also matched, so they raised $30,000 last Wednesday night. So way to go, Natalie, for seeing that vision, and way to go to everybody that helped rally around these families to be able to maintain their safe housing. And then the last thing before we dive into our meeting is Sunday evening is a little breezy out. And I recently replaced my mailbox, and I wanted to put one of those little cabinet magnets in there so that when you close the mailbox door lid, it stays shut. So I was out standing on the side of the road working on this, and my daughter comes walking over to see what I'm doing. And it's kind of breezy, so she was standing beside me trying to get out the wind. And I said, "Yeah, Dad makes a pretty good windbreak." And she goes, "Yeah, Dad, you're huge," she goes. And then I think she realized how that sounded, because then she was like, "And you're full of love." And I was like, "Okay, good save. Good save, thanks." So, all right, so let's go, dad joke, and then our guest speaker. So this one is submitted by Laura. And for those of you that might not be able to see at home, it's a slope that's got all sorts of sheep on it. It says that slope looks unstable. There's a risk of landslide. So thank you, Laura, for sharing that joke with us. I can't take credit for that one. All right, so I'd like to invite Faribault Rotary Youth Services to come up and
Gambling, and then we just
Oh,
go right in.
perfect.
I'll switch over to that. Apologize, I have to speak a little bit here today, so hopefully I don't get you too bored, but let's go through our monthly gambling update. September was our first month of the new fiscal year, so we closed the books and opened a new chapter, looking to break our 1.9 million we had last year in revenue. We're off to a good start. So how much exactly is our good start? We sold $211,000 worth of gaming activity over the month of September. Specifically, we sold 113,000 in e-tabs, that's our largest revenue driver, 84,000 in paper tabs, and 13,000 in bingo. With regards to e-tabs, we actually had our second highest gross profit margin of the month, meaning the amount that we took in as opposed to having sold out at 19.8%. So that was exciting. All in all, that led to a record month in net income of $26,000. However, that is somewhat of an accounting gimmick because it includes our $13,000 we have in the games out there to finance people that win and et cetera. So if you strip that out, we get a true net income is about 13,000. So a good month, probably in our upper quartile, upper 75%. So that's exciting. With regards to other activities in FRYS, over September, we can remember that far back to the start of the month, we had the Town Ball State Tournament here at Bellfield that FRYS partnered with Faribault Youth Baseball to host some pull tabs at. We had decent activity. I think Brenda described it as decent activity, not great, not a barn burner, but we ended up making about $1,500 ourselves when we subtracted the cost of the boxes, the inventory, and the labor. We had about $800 in net income, and the arrangement was us to share that with Faribault Youth Baseball at 50-50 share, 50-50 split. So we cut them a check for about $400. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Last but not least, the Rotary Camp, we had talked about we were going to repair that this fall. Unfortunately, our contractor got busy and was not able to get around to that this fall, so it's gonna be moved to this spring, hopefully, to get that done. So that's our update for our gambling. Now we have to just go through and approve our expenses, and then we have a donation. Natalie normally handles our donations, but I'll handle this one today, because Natalie is absent this afternoon, or no, she's on the web, but I can handle it while we're here. Okay, so we're just gonna run through this real quick. Administrative expenses for CG Made Easy, that's our online platform, $250, that's fixed every month. $6,000 in inventory, we got quite a bit of inventory on hand right now, so don't need a whole lot. Gambling team compensation, $2,600, that's fixed every month. Bingo team compensation, we're gonna have to start lowering that amount now that we got a lot of volunteers helping out, but that's at $2,500. Revenue share with M. Peters, $10,000, that's based off our e-gaming. City of Faribault's gotta get our hands in to get some profit to the city, $1,200. Revenue share with Boxers, that's how, it's technically rent, not revenue share. If you ever see it on the tax return, that's how it's broken out. $8,000 there, and miscellaneous costs of $2,000 covers our overhead for payroll, HR, taxes, that type of stuff, and then now we're gonna be going out to buy some purses too, it sounds like. So with that, can we get a first on the expenses? Boom. Mr. Cook, all right, and how about a second?
I'll second that.
Dr. Houston, okay, all those in favor? And opposed? Okay, wonderful, so that is our gambling update, but now we have a donation. As we all know, Walmart Community is the main driver, that is our big objective this year as a club. And Keith has asked Faribault Rotary Youth Services to contribute $5,000. The Faribault Rotary Youth Services Board approved that $5,000, so now we need to take it to a membership vote, which is you people, to approve the donation of $5,000, then we get keep that check here and get it deposited and go purchase some winter wear for the youth of the community. So with that, can we get a first for a $5,000 donation to Walmart Community? Who is that? Rebecca and George, you're coming in with a second? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Wonderful. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, so like I said, I've got to do a little talking here today. So now we're going to go to our Faribault Rotary Youth Services annual meeting. For those of you that don't know, Faribault Rotary Youth Service, I'll just give a quick overview, then I'll let Dave go into a little bit of history. But Faribault Rotary Youth Services is a tangent arm to the main Rotary Club. That is a nonprofit that's focused on returning money, donations, however you want to call it, back to youth activities in the community. So we are a nonprofit, and all of you, whether you knew it or not, are members. So that's why I say when we got to vote for gambling funds and donations, the gambling organization is set up under youth services, and we need our members, or all of you, to vote on expenses and such. So that's how that works. If you're sitting here wondering what exactly is going on, and so we have a board of directors for Rotary Youth Services. This is the board right now. Keith Kramer, Jake Cole, Eric Craig, Dave Bierneck, Brenda DeMars, and then myself, and then we have an open seat at the moment. So what we're looking for today here, we need to approve our 2022 nominees. So our first nominee is Kay Hoagland, and then our second nominee is myself, a little awkward saying that, but for our first nominee, Kay, the board gave her the green light that we'd like her to come onto the board, and Rod's giving Kay a first to the nomination for the board. Do we have a second nomination? Or a second, excuse me, a second support, second motion. Laura? All right, wonderful. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, wonderful. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and now second here, well, again, like I
I
said.
move that we make Chad.
That's the first. Rebecca, do we have a second? George, all right, thank you. Opposed? Thank you very much. Okay, let's see, and then George.
Very opposed.
Murray opposed. I almost felt like opposing for myself just to get a vote in there.
Murray, I need this.
With that, I think it's time now to hand it over to Dave to give us a little bit of background on what's going on with Rotary Youth Services, the history, our structure and all that fun stuff, and I'll be back up towards the end here.
Okay, for those of you, there's quite a few new members, a few of you are here at this meeting. For some of you who've been here longer, this might be repetition, but the history of Faribault Rotary Youth Services. The entity was formed in 1960. The reason it was formed at that time is the Rotary Club purchased some land out at Cedar Lake
It's called the Rotary Camp. And in order to own the property, they needed to have a separate entity for it. So it was set up in 1960. And then the Rotary Camp, the well, the building, those things were all put in 1960s. The improvements from then on have occurred almost every decade. There's been some major thing that's been done out there. Then the Strive program started somewhere around 1990 or the early 90s. Okay, in the 90s. And the program began, well, Mark Schrader actually started it, along with help from Westlaw. And I believe they brought that program from White Bear Lake, I think it was.
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, we changed our entity. We were a nonprofit organization, but we had not gotten a 501c3 application and approval from the IRS. So we did that in 1998 when we started the Strive program, so that it is a charitable organization. So therefore, anybody can give donations to it and they can be deducted for IRS purposes. So that's when we became a 501c3. And as Chad mentioned, when you're a Rotarian, you are automatically a member of the Fairville Rotary Youth Services. It's just automatic. You don't sign up for anything for it. Once you're a Rotary member, you become a voting member of the Fairville Rotary Youth Services. As far as the responsibilities of the board, really there's two main things we do: oversight and compliance. With the oversight, we fulfill the legal and fiduciary requirements, and we have oversight of investments at brokerage firms, oversight of the Rotary Camp, and we have financial oversight of any program that the regular board directs us to operate. And we pay out the scholarships, the donations, and we take care of all the financial side of things. As far as compliance, we have to comply with federal and state laws. We have to file tax returns for both. We have to maintain our exempt status, meeting certain requirements. We have to write letters to our donors for IRS purposes, stay in good standing. And we have to follow and keep up with the charitable gambling rules. So that's basically the purpose of the board and what they do. One of the requirements to keep our tax exempt status to 501c3, we're required to have 33% over in the left one there in the red. 33% of our revenues or funds have to come in from public support. Public support, on the right here, you see dues, concerts, donations under $5,000. That's all considered public support. Now, in the past, we also had in that area, we had the rose sale and we had some other things that we rearranged. And the other requirement is that no more than 1/3 of our revenues can be from investment income. So one of the purposes there is so we spend the money instead of hoarding it. It's one of the things, which is what we want to do. Next one is now we're getting into some of the financial figures and just brief summaries of these. And if you want more information, we have statements. You can get copies of things as you request. The total assets that we have right now are $301,182. And that involves investments, cash and checking, it's cash at the games and gambling, many things that are made up that figure. And it also includes the Rotary Camp, the cost of the land and building, and the improvements we've made to that. The liabilities are $16,000. About half of that is really contra accounts in the accounting sense, so we don't have to go into those. But the other, there's 7,000 scholarships payable right now. The 2020 year, there's 6,000 still payable. I'm going to be sending out a reminder letter to those. I think there's 3 students who haven't collected yet, and it expires December 31st. So if I have trouble contacting some of these, I may ask for help from the group here. They don't have any contacts or know how to get hold of some of these. And then for 2021, we had just one person who hasn't collected yet, and that's for $1,000. So, and that person actually, as of August 31st, that person actually collected in September. So that year, everyone collected. We probably have about 1 out of 3 or 4 years where everybody actually collects. Next one. As far as how we break down the revenues and disbursements, the areas we show now, the new one is charitable gambling. We've always had the Rotary Camp. We kind of combine the Strive and others all into one. So the total revenues, you can see charitable gambling, brand new, very large amounts. Surplus 18,824. And that is after we paid the donations, there's 18,000 left. And we would have paid out more in donations, but most of that is cash needed on hand for the games. And so therefore, going that is good. And Chad will be reading a little bit more detail on that later. The Rotary Camp shows a deficit this year of 1,486. It's a little bit misleading in that 1,300, and some of that is depreciation. And so cash flow wise, it's pretty close to a break even, and that varies from year to year. Some years it's large profit with donations, other years it's losses when we have bigger repairs. The Strive program, 21,000, Strive and other. So these would be any fundraisers, donations. Of that 21,000, I believe there's between 11 and 12,000 donations from the public or Rotary members. Most of that was from the public to support Strive. Walmart community is included in those figures. See what other programs we might have. Strive, as far as the expenses go, the Strive banquet, we have a couple of donations that we paid out. That was before we started the gambling. So the Little Feet program and the Legion-Bill program are 2 that we paid out. So in the end, we had a surplus of 24,766. In the future, we are thinking that the gambling, if it doesn't expand, the surplus will not grow because we'll be paying all the profits off the donations. That's the goal of us. Rotary Camp cash reserves, we got 16,008 in the checking. We got 3,200 roughly in the money markets, 20,000, and we're going to be doing repairs here. Let's go to the next one. This is the fee structure. Youth groups is $75 a day. All other groups, $150 per day if it's 50 or less, $250 per day if it's over 50 individuals. And we took in this last season, we took in $2,775, and it was over 600 people used the camp. And it mainly gets used on weekends, very little on weekdays. Maintenance and improvements. Here's a little history out of the camp. So 2019 is when the storm went through, so we had some big things to take care of then. But each year, there's always some things to be done. In this past year, 2022, We did some repair and painting of the railing of the camp. And did some improvements to the pump house. For the coming year, which we had hoped we were gonna get done this fall, it's going to next spring now, so we're going to remodel the bathrooms, put in some new sinks, walls and ceiling, do something with the floor. The kitchen ceiling, we're going to replace that. And then the front door needs some either improvements or replacement. I'll turn it back over to Chad.
All right, I'll be quick here because I know we're running up on time and I feel we're all well versed on our charitable gambling activities, given the communication we have monthly. So just a little background, our operation in charitable gambling commenced officially. The kickoff was October 2021 last year. There was a much longer lead-in time to get it approved and go through backgrounds and all that fun stuff. But we officially kicked off in October 2021. It was much smaller than the operation is nowadays. We had less boxes. We did not have bingo. We did not have raffles. We did not have horse racing. So over those 10 months, the operation really grew, which is why I'm very excited to see where things go this year, because we're hitting it full steam, where last year we kind of slowly got up and had to get to cruising altitude, but we're cruising right now. The charitable gambling team, we're led by our Rotarian of the Year, Brenda DeMars back there. Brenda is the focal person, the leader of the operation, the one that is on the ground providing updates, communicating with boxers and letting us know what's going on. We've got Amy, who's our treasurer. She's doing the tax return monthly, thinking about all that accounting and bookkeeping that you have to do, that she had to learn on the fly once again. We all started at ground zero, working our way up, so we're moving with steam now. Myself, I kind of just get involved where I can as the CEO, and then we have Jessica Robinson, Amy's daughter, who helps out. There's a lot of counting and storage you have to do after each of these games, and that's all for like 3 years. So a lot of just revising, reconciling and stuff like that, but this, because of course there's a lot of cash involved here and we don't want any money laundering going on, and gotta make sure everything's on the up and up. So that's the team, and of course, I could not go without saying our FRYS board has been wonderful through this whole process. Took a little bit to figure out how we were getting this done and what was going on, but it's been awesome. Dave Biernick has been phenomenal, especially with tax time this year. There's this UBIT, unearned business income tax, and how that all applied. Dave's been cutting his teeth, doing long accounting hours. I'm sure it brought back good memories. Tax, some of you used to be in the field. So with that, let's just talk about our loaded real quick here. Our donations and our charitable giving. So we established, it was Todd Sesker's idea, a charitable giving committee that would review the applications that came in to kind of take the burden off the FRYS board, because we got our hands in a couple other things too. So that was led by Natalie Ginter, a group. I don't have all the names off the top of my head here, but there's, I think, about 7 people on the charitable giving committee, maybe 6. It's been up and down a little bit here. People have stepped off, stepped on due to other obligations and such. But overall, we contributed, or we raised and donated over $45,000 in 2022. Some of the names that our donations went to: Rice County United Way, Fairfield Diversity Coalition, Community Action Center, Fairfield Youth Soccer. So the only stipulation with our donations is that it has to be youth focused and in our area. There's obviously a lot of good causes that we'd like to give money to, but if we start to go out of our lane, the IRS can come and take away our non-exempt tax status, and then we would be up a creek without a paddle, not making any donations, not have to do unable to do charitable gambling, etc. So lots of great causes out there, but ours has to be tightly defined to Fairfield youth in the area, which we kind of blur the lines a little bit here and there. We've made some donations to Morristown, etc. But let's hope we don't have a too strict of an audit. With that, that's pretty much FRYS. Any questions, George?
I want to make a comment between Chad, Dave, Brenda, and Natalie. We've got exceptional people running these programs, and I think we ought to really be thanking you for that, and let's give them a hand.
Any questions, thoughts, comments, further discussion? Wonderful. Well, if you look at your monthly gambling update, I'm kind of a stats data geek, so I did a little bit of a deeper dive into what exactly is going on and try and help our forecasting of the performance be a little better in these coming months ahead. So very interesting. I don't know if you'll find it interesting, but I very much enjoyed it. Power of Excel. All right, wonderful. I'll give it back to our president.
All right. Thank you so much, Chad and Dave. Really appreciate it. And that's what we got for you today. So I encourage you all to go forward, be kind, have a great week, and we will see y'all again next week.
All right, we got that.
Great job.
Hey, Kurt. Well, Dave, I think we take a little breather. Gotta get that checked. Absolutely. George, maybe lunch next week. We're at a conference tomorrow. Yeah, what do you think about maybe like next year? Okay. You're on.